Are you struggling to find delicious, nutritious meals that cater to your health needs? At Hearth Meals, we believe food is the best medicine. We offer premium, dietitian designed, and chef prepared meals tailored to address high cholesterol, hypertension, PCOS, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes. Healthy meals should be easy. Our meals are designed with the latest nutrition science, prepared ready to eat, and home delivered. Healthy meals should use real food. Our meals do not have additives or preservatives. We use organic, whole ingredients. Healthy meals can strengthen your body. Our clients experience several health benefits after receiving our meals while managing their health conditions. We deliver across Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Washington, D.C. Sign up today at www.hearthmeals.com using the promo code Wellness01 for 25% off your first week of meals. That's promo code Wellness01 for 25% off your first week. Health results are not guaranteed.
Meet your new go-to for a fresh and inclusive approach to health.
Wellness Rebranded is the pod where a dietitian, a personal trainer, and a mental health therapist combine perspectives to help you redesign your relationship with food, fitness, and your feelings.
Whether we're serving up juicy stories, breaking down the latest research, or dropping practical tips, we'll leave you informed, inspired, and ready to take health-promoting action.
We get you because we are you.
We've joined forces because we know that health isn't one-dimensional, and neither are you.
Tune in for real talk that cuts through the wellness and diet culture hype. Stay for the laughs, the insights, and the feel-good vibes.
Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Rebranded. Today, in this episode, we're going to talk about emotions around the holidays. So on this episode, we want to acknowledge that the holidays can bring a mix of emotions, people. We know that it's not only joy and happiness, it could be stress, nostalgia, and even grief. We are going to have a conversation to normalize the complex emotions that many might feel during this time. And we want to help you listeners and ourselves really, because we learn so much when we record these episodes to navigate holiday emotions with more clarity and ease, maybe. So what do you guys think is like common holiday emotions or even triggers? Maybe it's a new thing for many people to think of the holidays even as a trigger, as an emotional trigger for many people. What do you think? What have you heard from friends or yourself?
I mean, I know I always feel a little bit sad during the holidays. My dad died like 10 years ago, and it's still, no, in July.
Yeah, okay.
So nowhere near the holidays.
That's a good
But
point.
to me, it's like this gaping hole to not have him sitting there at the table or, around the Christmas tree. So, like, even though for me, luckily, most of my holidays are like happiness and chaos, there is like a moment of sadness every single time where I'm like, dang, that's too bad.
Mhm.
I actually have the same thing because my dad did die during the holidays, but 17 or 18 years ago. So definitely sadness for some people. Honestly, stress is like the predominant one that I think a lot of people feel. And then also happiness, right? Like we also can feel happy
Yeah.
and have conflicting emotions.
I think it's super normal to have like a lot of the emotions like simultaneously. Like, for example, I'm hosting Thanksgiving this year, which you guys, of course, will be hearing this after the fact, but I feel a little bit stressed about prepping all the things and making sure the table looks nice and having the yummy food. But I'm also happy to be like doing it and kind of like taking over the tradition. So I feel like having multiple emotions is completely normal.
Absolutely, is completely human too. We can feel one way and even an opposite way in the same day or with the same situation. For example, there could be, the pleasure of these family gatherings that are common, but also the stress of the family gatherings coming or the traditions or the celebration, right? There could be even financial pressures for many people with all the gifts that you have to buy or the packed schedules or the mental load of hosting or planning something. So again, it could be joy and the good anticipation of it, but also the stress and the mental load and emotional load that can come with that. For some people, like you both just said, is missing loved ones. the loneliness that can come with it, maybe the lack of close connections. For me, as an immigrant, there were so many holidays that I spent here, or it changed, right? Before I moved to this country, it was always meeting with my family every holiday. Everybody will get together. Then moving here, it was a little tricky sometimes for me to go back home for whatever reason. And as we grew older, my siblings and myself, and I started my own family, I can't remember the last time that we were all, my brothers, my mom, and with my family together in the same place for a holiday. So now, 20 something years later, it doesn't feel as raw, but for many years there, it was missing what you were used to in my case. So it can bring grief, nostalgia, memories also of people that you're not seeing, or even longing for simpler times when it was just waking up and my parents were the one who were doing the whole, gift thing and the decoration. I just wake up and enjoy the holidays. Now, as a grown up, this grown up life is a whole different thing, and wanted to create that for my kids too.
Yeah.
It's sometimes can bring a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think about like what my mom does to prep the holidays for us, and it is like a lot. She does a lot for us. And as I'm like starting my own family, like I see that I'm adding more and more and more stuff. And while I'm super grateful, I also feel like immense pressure to create those memories for my child. You know? I want him to have as magical of an experience as I did. So while it's exciting and fun, it's also like a little bit stressy stress.
And here's another thought. Even if you have emotions throughout the year, because again, we all have emotions, and again, they can be conflicting and they can come at the same time or not. The holidays could be for many people the time where these emotions get amplified, right? For many of the reasons we discussed, but also for those, because of those expectations, either social or cultural expectations of that cheer and perfection that you were mentioning in another episode. Social media fueling this comparison of how should my holidays look like in terms of the decoration or the gifts, or oh my goodness, look at these parents buying. I was looking at a post of grandparents bringing, they're like these tiny bumping cars to
Oh,
their
yeah.
kids. And I was like, well, my kids can sit and wait for, like a gift
Right.
that big. I don't know. Right. So sometimes it's like, wow, I'm just giving my kids, I don't know. Some people might think like I'm just buying my kids a book because that's what I can afford. While these other people, I don't know. Right. There's some stuff that come then. And something for me that amplify things during the holidays is the weather. For
Oh,
us, for
yes.
those of us in Maryland, the shorter light during the days and the cold weather coming, it has a huge impact in my mood and how I see the holidays. Does that happen to any of you?
Oh, girl, the fact that it gets dark at like noon now, I am over it.
It definitely affects me too. Yeah, I hate when it gets dark so early. And I think it's like a good way to pause and acknowledge that it's okay if like I can only speak for myself, but I tend to be a lot less motivated because of the weather this time of year. Like more maybe normally I might really love going for a walk at the end of the day, but I'm probably not doing it as much this time of year because it's dark and it's cold and it's harder to get out there. And so for me, emotional self-care at the holidays sometimes looks like aligning myself with the reality of the season of the time of year, right? In terms of, hunkering down a little bit and maybe not doing as much. And yeah.
So I totally hibernate this time of year. Like, just wake me up when it's June. I don't love it either, and I'm not super motivated either. But I will say during December, especially, we love going for family walks after work, and it's definitely pitch black by then. So we have some like fun sparkly lights that we put on Chula's collar for like safety, right? And I had some that I put on the stroller. Now this year, I feel like I've got to figure out how to attach it to Mavs. But we walk our neighborhood and we look at the Christmas lights. We just kind of make that like, yes, it's going to be cold and horrible, but also, ooh, it's fun and festive and we're still walking and, it's family time. So we try to make the best of it.
No, and that's a good point. We love my family and I love driving by different houses and I don't know in other states or in other countries, but here people even post like what are the streets or neighborhoods that people put a lot of effort into their decorations and you can drive by and enjoy and see what other people are doing. That's a distraction. But yeah, definitely this change in weather, it makes me slower. I feel like my life happens slower. And sometimes I've read, yeah, the whole hibernation is maybe a way for your body to also take a pause. It's like a forced pause to do things a little slower, that we don't have to be in any kind of rush. I guess we save that for the summer. I don't know. And then,
Don't put me down for that.
right. And then another reason why these emotions can be amplified can also be, if you haven't listened to our previous episode on how to break the January cycle, I think it's related to this in a way, because at the end of December, we see it like as the end of a cycle. So you have that end of year reflection, and maybe that reflection can also bring up regrets and pressures from the year, and it can amplify that because the message out there is like, oh, reflect on your year and what are you going to do differently. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just going to be another year where you keep doing what you want to do and try to be better and feel better any way you can. So, what are some strategies that we can share about managing these emotions? What are things that we do or heard about to deal maybe with this weather change? For me, to be honest, the weather change is accepting it. Well, that was the first step. When my husband pointed out a long time ago, I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe I do have seasonal affective disorder. Like it really affects me. And now I accept it and I know that I'm a slower Maria. I'm like more mellow. If I never took a nap during the rest of the year, this is the time that my body asks for it. What other ways can we deal with emotions around the holidays?
So I actually used one of your lines the other day, Maria, that there are no negative emotions, only emotions. And my husband asked me, I said, "Oh, well, Maria always says this." And he goes, "Well, how would she say it with her accent?" So he like forced me to do an impression of you that was horrible.
How was that? Show me. Show me now.
Sarah, there's no negative emotions, only emotions.
Huh?
So it was horrible. But like we just gotta like acknowledge that emotions just are, dude. We just have to like get through them, embrace them.
One thing that comes to mind for me is talking about them, like talking and finding your safe people if you really are down in the dumps, or the people you can share you're happy with, or just normalizing, I don't know, my people, my people. That's my that's my emotional self-care.
I feel like this has come up so much lately for me, my family. I think I've mentioned before that my husband had like a mental health issue a few weeks ago, and he's in therapy now and he's using medication and he's doing like super great. But what came out of this in talking to all of our friends is that literally all of us have had like some sort of mental health, panic attacks, anxiety challenge, whatever, and nobody was really talking about it because it's just something like, oh, children of the 80s don't talk about their emotions. So now here we all are in our like 30s and 40s having to figure out like what our emotions are and how to like acknowledge and manage them while simultaneously teaching our children those same skills. So I think that just recognizing this is a hard road sometimes is helpful.
Absolutely. I'm not sure why, but we could be talking about this so much more because it happens to dealing with different emotions and challenging times in our lives happens to everyone. Everyone. But we talk about other things that maybe do not happen to everyone, and we talk about that more. But just a few other tips for you listeners, if this might be helpful, is maybe even redefining your expectations, right? That maybe good enough is just perfect for you, whatever that looks like. Maybe create new, more realistic traditions that align with your values during this time. Maybe even something that you've been doing for so long if it doesn't serve a purpose and is not making your life a little better or easier, you don't have to keep doing it. You can create a new set of things that you do this holiday season. Maybe again, practicing some self-compassion, whatever it is that comes for you. Give yourself grace if you're not feeling happy enough, anything like that, or even building a supportive holiday plan, like communicating your needs to other people or saying, I'm not feeling like doing this right now, but maybe if we do it this way, it will be more supportive for me, whatever it is, scheduling your time for self-care, staying connected to friends, those friends that do feel supportive during the holidays, right? Because we also have those moments where everything is happy, and that is not what is resonating with you at the moment. You don't have to force yourself to make anybody else happy. We don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be the season to please others and completely forget about you. Well, not not this season or any season, by the way. Not never in your life you have to please others as a main goal. Let's be clear on that. So this episode is to acknowledge that holiday emotions are natural and valid. They are there for a reason. They are there for you to feel them, for you to know who you are and what you do when you have different emotions. We invite you to think of simple self-care things that you could do for yourself during this holiday season. And if you have any experiences you want to share or any questions you want to share with us, please don't forget there's a easy, direct way, many easy, direct ways to connect with us. And it could be through a review, through our Instagram account, Wellness Rebranded, emailing us, sending us any kind of messages. We would love to hear from you.
And if part of your self-care, we all know diet culture is super loud this time of year. If part of your self-care is wanting to heal and transform your relationship with food, check out my intuitive eating starter kit. It's packed with resources, $29. The link is below. And if you're just not quite sure if that's the path for you, I invite you to come do my 5-day intuitive eating challenge. It's kicking off in January, but you can get your name, reserve your space now. It's free. It's 5 days. You're going to learn so much. People who have done this absolutely love it. And I would love for you to join me too. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
We are always looking for products out there that support mental health and spread a good message. That's how we found Happy, Happii, and we fell in love with their mission and purpose. You can find well-made, beautiful jewelry, clothing, stationery with supportive messages. Here at Wellness Rebranded, we created an affiliate relationship with Happy to offer our listeners a 10% discount. Use the link in the show notes to check out all the amazing products, buy something for you or a friend or both, and let's keep opening conversations about the importance of prioritizing mental health. Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara De Leon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.